everyone, welcome to HashtagWhydeas. This is the Marketing Excel show. We are back with another episode with another marketing expert. And today we have Mr. Samriddh Dasgupta with us, who is Chief Marketing Officer at HUFT, which is a pet food product company, especially for the dogs and cats. Samriddh has worked with brands like Bombay Shaving Company and Akash Digital. Samriddh was very instrumental in building multiple brands in-house for Bombay Shaving Company, if I'm not wrong. Samriddh, correct me if I'm wrong there. Karthik Aryan was the brand ambassador.
No, you're fine.
Yeah, Karthik Aryan was the brand ambassador for the brand. And beside this, Akash Digital was recently acquired by the Byju's, just for your knowledge. So welcome, Samriddh. Thank you very much for coming on the show. It's a pleasure to have you.
No, my pleasure, Gaurav. Couple of changes to what you just mentioned.
Please.
One, Heads of Hotels is not a pet food company. We are a holistic pet care company where we have products which go across multiple categories to take care of your pet's entire life cycle. So it's not just pet food, and it's not just dogs and cats. We have dogs, cats, and other small animals also. So think of us as India's largest destination for anything that you need for your pets, right? So that's the first change. Second part is during my tenure at Bombay Shaving Company, Karthik Aryan was not the brand ambassador. We had Mr. R. Ashwin, who's a cricketer. He was the face for Bombay Shaving Company's men's care range, and for the women care range, we had Alaya Furniture Wala as the brand ambassador for the women's range, which now as a brand it's called Bombay, and the other one remains Bombay Shaving Company. But that's about past. Akash, yes, Akash Digital in particular has been taken over, and Akash has now been taken over by Byju's, as you rightly mentioned. So yeah, that's a fair thing.
So I realized, Heads of Hotels is an e-commerce, umbrella brand precisely. But in the flow, I just mentioned this is a pet food company because that is how people perceive it primarily. But anyway, it's really wonderful to have you here today, and we just want to learn from your journey as a marketer, how you've evolved, some of your experiences throughout. Just tell us something about you as a marketer,
I didn't actually start as a marketer. I started my career in films. I was in film production for many years. Post films, I did radio for a while. So I was always deeply interested in the language of communication and the business of creativity. Right. And my personal goal was to create things. I loved the idea of becoming an early stage creator. I can't dance and I can't sing and I can't do a lot of those things which some of the more accomplished creators in the industry and companies do. But one thing that I realized that I could do was tell meaningful stories, and those meaningful stories were being told through various medias. So I started my career with a very strong focus on being able to tell stories that would move people, that would move culture. And I think marketing came with the balance of the left and the right side of the brain. Marketing came very naturally. I was always good with numbers. I was analytical to a certain extent, but I was also deeply creative. So I think it became a very natural progression where you understand how markets work, you understand how consumer psychology works, you understand a certain degree of media buying, data analytics, so on and so forth, which is a very important piece for anyone to be a successful marketer. And you have to understand technology. So I was a very early stage tech adopter. I ran a company for a few years where we were giving tech solutions. So marketing came to me as a part of my overall experience. I did not start off by wanting to be a marketer. I started off by wanting to be a storyteller, and that remains true till date. I just find more interesting ways of telling stories, I guess.
Right. So let's just talk about Heads of Hotel for a bit, because my objective is to draw as much as from you for my audience in the marketing context. So e-commerce itself is quite a crowded market, right? And then e-commerce and then pet product companies and the pet viewers. How do you actually position yourself? How do you how did you plan the positioning of the entire brand for this specific particular space? Can you put
Yeah.
some
So
background?
again, we are not only e-commerce, right? We were India's first pet care brand. We were the first brand in India to have started the category. So when you look at the category emergence of pet care, which is over the last 6-7 years, the category has become far more pronounced. There are three tectonic shifts that have happened. One is that the market has grown, and with the growth of the market, I think we have been extremely lucky to have ventured into newer markets, which is we've got new retail fronts opening up across cities. So now today we are at about 60 stores capacity. We run our own spa ventures within the stores where there's dog grooming, pet grooming. We also have our own private label. So a portion of and actually how we started was a private label business, right? How we started was a private label business, and the private label business still remains a very sizable part of our investment, and it keeps growing year on year. And third part of the business, which is our aggregator business, where we become a marketplace for other brands to come and sell to the pet population in India. These are the three things that we end up doing. We are also the front for most of the most premium food brands in the world to come into India, right? So we become their representatives, and we have a very strong strategic alliance with all of them. This allows us to deliver three very strong values back to the customer. One is authenticity, credibility of products that are very high quality, well produced, with a very strong idea of the manufacturing capacity. The second value that we provide is about efficiency. So we are able to deliver products to you on time. We are able to deliver products to you really, really fast. In fact, in Delhi, Bombay, Bangalore, we have now almost gone to an extent of 24-hour delivery. In Delhi, we are doing about almost 4-hour delivery in some cases, right? So there's of course the quality piece to it, then there's a convenience piece to it, which is where the efficiency comes in. And I think the last piece, which is extremely important, is trust. As a brand, we have been able to build our value system to deliver trust and keep holding up that trust as much as we can. So there's a deep commitment towards doing better for the society, better for the animal community, and I think that is what makes the brand a formidable player in the pet care company, as a pet care company and in the pet care industry. Positioning of the brand has always been one that we feel very strongly about ourselves. I've been a pet parent for the last 38, 39 odd years, right? And one thing I've realized is that pets are family. Every time you bring a pet home, you are adding value, not just to your lives, but you're being able to drive a little bit of value back to their lives. And if today, with even just this much change in mindset and just this much change in the way we perceive animals on the street and how we bring the pet home, I think it just changes the way you live as a human being,
Right.
Especially if you have young kids and you have pets at home, the way the child grows up is it's very special. Yeah. So for us, the brand resonates with the same value system. We have our core thought processes to educate people about how pets are family, and as you would choose the best for your family members, in this case also you're supposed to choose the best that you can for your pet. We are here to help you in that pet parenthood journey. It's a journey, right? It's not a one-time thing. It's not like आज एक आप ले आए pet घर पे तो आपका खत्म हो गया. It's the same journey that you go through as a parent when you have a child of your own, and I think that's what we are trying to do very, very hard and very distinctly in some form. We are putting in a lot of effort, is to make people aware of how every pet has a unique need, how every pet has a unique way of being, and as responsible pet parents, you have to work a little with your pet. You have to work hard with your pet and make sure that you're able to understand them and give them the best that they can.
I love the way you have elaborated, on pets, and especially in dogs, instead of the product itself. And I also recognized through your profile and through the heads of the page as well about your CSR initiatives of, dogs, feed a dog in need, I believe. Tell us something about that also.
Yeah. So great point. Thank you, Gaurav. We when the organization started, there was a very strong yet overarching an almost a visionary aspect of what we wanted to achieve, right? And this, I'm talking about 14 years back when the organization started. At that time, it was a visionary space because we didn't know how to do it. Now we know how to do it.
Correct.
We want to make sure that every animal out on the street finds someone who can take care of them. We are not saying that they have to find homes because we understand how difficult that is. But as long as they can find someone to take care of them, that's probably 80% of the battle won, right? To do that and to facilitate that really well, we have started over the years, we have been able to do it better, but we started with 4 clear initiatives. One initiative is called Feed a Dog in Need, where we make food which is packed in small pouches, and now we are coming with bigger packets also. This is distributed almost free of cost through our stores. You can buy it on our website, extremely nominally priced, 30 rupees for a pack. Nothing, cost less than a Coke, but can feed a dog almost for the entire day, right? And all it takes is just that much, just someone to just get that one packet and feed one dog. It's nutritionally balanced. It's easy. So stuff like that is something that we do. The initiative is called Feed a Dog in Need. We every month we end up distributing anywhere between 20 to 35,000 odd packets of food. The second program that we run within the HUFT Foundation. So all of this comes within the HUFT Foundation, which is our social impact wing. Every time you buy at Heads Up for Tails as a customer, you're contributing back to the foundation. So there's a certain amount of money that gets accrued back to the foundation with every purchase, right? And then people are also generous, so they end up making donations at checkouts, which is amazing. The second initiative, as I mentioned, is called Reflective Collars. These are glow-in-the-dark collars. It brings down chances of accidents happening at night by over 90-odd%. So mortality rate goes down by about 90-odd%.
Okay.
So it's a phenomenal product where you have those reflective bands that we put on our own jackets and on the cars and on bicycles and stuff like that. So we make collars with those reflective bands.
Yes.
So we manufacture that in a house. We distribute it, and it's just something that we have been able to do very successfully. So I think by now we would have done about anywhere between 45 to 50,000 odd collars that have been distributed and put on dogs. The other things that we run cat feeding initiatives with our partners. And finally, during winters, we make beds and we make blankets and shelters, which we distribute across the northern Indian belt where it gets really, really cold. And during summers, we end up doing a water bowl initiative where we make huge cement water bowls. We distribute it across societies, localities, which have high strains, streeties and colleges. Lots of corporate offices keep them, and people fill water in them. So we provide them with the bowls. People provide the love and the water, and I think that's what matters. Yeah, as long as people are there to provide the love, we are only there to facilitate. That's our job.
So actually, I am a dog. I belong to the same dog parent category as also. I'm a dog father, and I'm totally sold off. So I have a habit of seeing the CSR, PR, social media marketing, and the branding exercises as a combined universe, as a combined umbrella to build a brand which is larger than simple a story or a communication, or maybe a story on a larger scale. Can you help me and help our audience understand how these things mixes together, especially the branding campaign? The entrepreneurs and the new startup actually get confused in between. Should they prioritize branding campaigns, or should they prioritize social media marketing campaigns, or should they think about the PR things? Can you just help us?
It's an important question. Yeah, no, it's an important question. I get it.
Because even the CSR activities that you're doing actually, somehow impacts the overall branding impacts.
Fair enough. Yeah. One, I don't think there's so much CSR as it's a part of a value system. So it's not CSR. Right. CSR is an obligatory term where you take 2% of your spendings and of your revenue and are supposed to put that back in. No, it's not that. I think structurally, whenever we start using terms which are business terms, we should be clear about what that business term really indicates. So CSR is not what we do. Okay. Right. Now let's come to the question. I think, Gaurav, there are two things to recognize here, and I'm saying this for the audience, and I'm saying this for whosoever will watch it as I go ahead. Social media is area. Okay, it's just a way to put your story out.
Correct.
It's a way to communicate, it's a way to learn, it's a way to understand, it's a two-way dialogue, it's not a one-way street. Social media enables a brand to listen to the pulse of the audience, conversations that are happening, need gaps, desires, what do people want, how do people want it, when do they want it, why do they want it, right? What are they thinking, how are they thinking, what influences their thought process, so on and so forth, right? So social media needs to be used for that. The moment we start to look at social media as a commerce driver, we start to undermine the potential of the social fabric that we're trying to build, which is really the communities that we end up serving, right? Brands function really, really well when there are communities that are built, and each of these communities comes together to drive one clear cultural shift, okay?
Right.
And cultural shifts are what marketers are supposed to drive. Marketers are not there to only run performance ads, which is, I think, what large portion of marketing has come down to. It's a very it's an unfortunate state, but it is what it is, because the massive amount of money goes behind running ads on Facebook and Google, and I completely understand that. But one of the larger hats that marketers also need to wear, and I think some of the most successful ones who wear them, and people I genuinely end up respecting, and I have seen them grow very well. They put the brand story and the brand ethos and the brand philosophy at the center, and then they weave everything around it. Okay. And once you're able to do that, once you're able to get the core and you're able to weave things around it, then आपको खुद दिख जाएगा कि आपका परफॉर्मेंस में गैप कम हो गया है, आपका ऑर्गेनिक ट्रैफिक बढ़ गया, आपके ब्रांड मेंशंस ठीक हो गए, आपका ब्रांड हेल्थ you've sorted through it. Suddenly एक ब्रांड इक्विटी लिफ्ट आ जाता है, एक ऑर्गेनिक लिफ्ट आ जाता है बिजनेस में, राइट? एंड व्हिच इज एन इंपॉर्टेंट पार्ट. गलती हम कहाँ कर बैठते हैं कि हम हर चैनल से वही सेम चीज एक्सपेक्ट करते हैं. हमें लगता है कि हम सोशल मीडिया में कुछ डालेंगे तो हमें वहां से रेवेन्यू मिलेगा, हम कल एक इन्फ्लुएंसर के साथ कुछ कैंपेन कर देंगे तो वहां से हमें रेफरल कॉमर्स आना शुरू हो जाएगा, प्रोडक्ट्स बिकने शुरू हो जाएंगे हमारे. जरूर होना भी चाहिए, कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है, मगर आपका वो ऑब्जेक्टिव सिर्फ वही नहीं हो सकता, राइट? आपको दो चीजें बहुत ध्यान में रखनी पड़ेंगी. यू हैव टू मेक श्योर दैट यू आर क्लियर अबाउट what is the life stage that your brand is in. If people know what your brand does and they're living and breathing your brand, right, then it's fine. Then you can choose to incrementally build them up over a period of time, right? Because then they buy different kinds of things. But if you're still at an early stage, and I'm assuming a lot of people who end up watching this show are early stage entrepreneurs, early stage marketers, right?
Actually, yes.
Right. So at an early stage, you have an uphill task here, and बहुत ही कठिन सफर है ये, जहाँ पे आपको वो कभी हिंदी वाला सफर होता है, कभी इंग्लिश वाला सफर होता है. दोनों के बीच में आप अटके रहोगे कभी कभार. You will soon see that the journey is getting very nice, where you are doing lots of beautiful brand campaigns. आपने कुछ अच्छी story बनाई, आपने डाला, कुछ नहीं हुआ उससे, and then you take a performance ad and you run it and it suddenly starts to do well. You will see that also. It's a good state to be in. Nothing is wrong with that state. But the honest answer to your rather complex question is, you have to know your story very, very clearly. Once you know your story very, very clearly, then you should be able to break it down for any medium, any media, any consumer set, any kind of distribution model that you might have for that content. But you have to know your story really well. I think what plagues the industry right now, and what has become a perpetual problem, is most people don't even know their story really well, because they're so busy solving for कौन सा next reel trend हो रहा है, या कौन सा हमारा next social media में topical event आने वाला है जिसके लिए मैं content बनाऊंगा. They're so busy solving for that they're not solving for the brand story. And because they don't solve for the brand story, their CAC goes, the CAC is always north of what they can actually do. They don't build any equity. They have zero stickiness. There is very low brand love. NPS तो बहुत दूर की बात है. तो early stage जो भी आपके यहाँ पे व्यूअर्स है, एंटरप्रेन्योर्स है, आपके मार्केटियर्स होंगे इस वाले कोहॉर्ट में. For them, I think it's very, very important to first write down the brand story, figure out what they can use to communicate this brand story, and then figure out whether it's social media marketing versus brand marketing. I think they're the same piece as long as you can get the right story out there.
Just to simplify this for the audience, to make it more doable for them, just refine the story. What is the story and how someone should actually plan it? How should someone do it? Just some quick idea on this.
It's a simple thing. Let's take for example heads of hotels की बात करते हैं अभी थोड़ा. Right. See, the brand is very clear that we are dealing with people who love pets, right? People like Mr. Gaurav Pandey, right? You are a pet parent. So
right.
we are speaking to people who love pets, people who are probably pet parents, people who have who have a desire to make their pets' lives more meaningful and more enjoyable.
Right.
We are talking to them. Right. So broadly हमने अपना एक बहुत ही clear audience segmentation कर रखा है, ठीक है? Which is step one. First, know whom you're going to speak to, because you can't speak to everyone. नहीं हो सकता. किसी भी ब्रांड के लाइफ साइकिल में आप ये कर ही नहीं सकते कि आप सबसे बात करोगे, राइट? वो जमाना गया जहाँ पे आप टेलीविजन में एड चला देते थे तो आप ऑलमोस्ट सबसे बात कर सकते थे. उसमें भी सेगमेंटेशंस होते थे, वो बात अलग है. So first is you need to know who is it that you want to address, and now who is it does not get down to SEC A B C, वो सब में मत घुसो. क्या इनकम है, क्या है, वो सब अलग चीजें है. Get into the mindset of the customer, right? There are all of us. It doesn't matter where you live. आप जोधपुर में रहते हैं, राजस्थान में. By the way, beautiful place. I've been there a couple of times. मगर आप जोधपुर में रहते हैं, हम कोई ज्यादा लोग कहेंगे अच्छा ये तो tier 2 डाउन है. बिल्कुल भी tier 2 डाउन नहीं है. जोधपुर में अगर आप जाके कहीं पे भी देखोगे, disposal income is extremely high. You have all the facilities, all the amenities that one can imagine. लोग iPhone यूज कर रहे हैं, लोगों के पास अच्छी आलीशान गाड़ियां हैं, घर भी बहुत अच्छे हैं. ये जो माइंडसेट में एक अटक चुके हैं ना कि tier 2 has a different spending part, tier 1 has a different spending part. No, it's mindset, right? You can be anywhere in this country, but the ability to spend is not dictated by where you are. The ability to spend is dictated by what kind of life stage and what mindset you are in. So start to organize your customers or your audience with that logic. कि इसका interest क्या है, ये कौन से life stage में है, ये इसका अभी share of wallet for my particular category कितना होगा. जैसे हमें पता है हमारा share of wallet for pet care is fairly high, right? Because share of wallet for pet care is high.
Correct.
It's बच्चा बड़ा हो रहा है आपका.
Yeah, it never goes into inflation.
Right. But maybe your share of wallet for something like your shampoos, conditioners, shaving kits, etc., is much lower, right? Because वो product.
It's almost similar to the education and healthcare category also. The right? Emotional state.
Okay. Correct. Very close to that, right? So first is segment your audience. Step one, story के उसमें. Second is figure out what are the emotions that drive these people to start talking to each other. Not talking to the brand. How can they start talking to each other? I'm going back to the community area. ठीक है? अगर आप आज देखो, मैं आपको एक कम्युनिटी का आइडिया देता हूँ जो बाकी आपके व्यूअर्स को भी समझ आएगा अच्छी तरह. नाइकी का एग्जांपल लेते हैं. नाइकी रन सम ऑफ द वर्ल्ड्स बिगेस्ट रनिंग क्लब्स इन द वर्ल्ड, राइट? तो नाइकी जब लेके आता है अपने कम्युनिटी को, नाइकी अपने कम्युनिटी को जूतों के प्यार से लेके नहीं आ रहा है, उनको एक athleticism और running के प्यार से लेके आ रहा है.
Correct.
Right? So Nike is getting people together who are passionate about pushing themselves, pushing the boundaries, becoming better athletes, becoming better runners. Right? So today, when there's a Nike community that comes together, they're not coming together because they like or they love the Jordans and the Nike Air Zooms. They do like those. So that's a byproduct. But why they're coming together is because they believe in the philosophy of the brand, which is what Nike brings to the table for them. And what Nike brings to the table is the fact that everyone can be an athlete. So Nike believes that everyone can be an athlete, right? So Nike has built its brand on that principle. So very similarly for us, when we start to look at what is the core messaging, what is the core value, हमें पता है कि value system सारे pet parents को unify करने का एक है कि उनको लगता है कि वो जो pet है ना, वो मेरा बच्चा है. वो मेरे घर का सदस्य है, वो मेरा बच्चा है, वो या तो मेरा भाई है या तो मेरी बहन है, वो जो भी है, it's a member of my family. Right? So हमने बहुत सोचा कि ये वो क्या बात है जो देश के अलग अलग क्षेत्रों में जितने हमारे कस्टमर्स रहते हैं, जिनके पास पेट्स है, what will help to start a conversation which will bring all of them together? And we realize that itself stems from the idea that that's our family. So that's where it came from. It's not something that we believed in. It's something that our customer base genuinely lives every day, right? तो कल को अगर कोई प्रोडक्ट लॉन्च कर रहा है, आप सिर्फ ये मत सोचिए कि आपको क्या बोलना है उनको, आप ये सोचिए कि लोगों को आप एक साथ कैसे ला सकते हो, उनको एक जगह पे कैसे ला सकते हो, और वो क्या मैसेज है जो उनको लगेगा कि हाँ, ये ब्रांड तो मेरे लिए बात कर रहा है, मेरी तरह बात कर रहा है.
It's an interesting
कल
insight.
को एप्पल
Yeah.
कल को एप्पल जब एक फोन लॉन्च करता है, एप्पल ये नहीं कहता है कि आप मेरे फोन में 3000 mAh का बैटरी है, उसको फर्क नहीं पड़ता.
Correct.
वो कहता है कि you want to become the best photographer there is, you want to make amazing videos because you want to be a creator, come use an Apple product. So it brings creators together.
It actually
right?
brings
It
people
brings
together with the same
people
emotions.
who, correct, right? So I think what you need to arrive at as storytelling for a brand is, what is that one emotion, one belief system that unifies your core customers with your new emerging customers? How can you bring them together, right? What is it that will bring everyone together? And how can your brand participate in that conversation? I think once you're clear about how your brand can participate in that conversation, then to aapke liye it's golden here. Like,
Very
we know how we
interesting
can
ideas.
participate in these conversations, right?
Right.
Have to figure out a way what unifies people. How does your brand get into that conversation, and what value your brand can bring to that conversation? अगर आपने इतना कर लिया, अगर आपने सिर्फ ये जो ये सिंपल सर्कल है ना, इसको आपने कर लिया कि बीच में क्या है, बीच में है आपका कोर ऑडियंस, उसके चारों तरफ है एक वो कॉन्वर्सेशन, जो उनका बिलीफ सिस्टम है, बिल्कुल एक्सटर्नल फोर्स में है कल्चर, जो आप ब्रांड के थ्रू बात करना चाहते हो. तो आपका क्या वो वैल्यू सिस्टम है जो लोगों को आप तक खींच के लाएगा. दैट इज द मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट पीस. वो आप क्लियर कर लोगे, आपका मोर और लेस branding architecture sorted hai.
Wonderful. So Samriddh, my last question to you is to take your views on the common issues, the common problems you often notice. The startups that actually do when they form their marketing strategy for e-commerce venture. Some quick ideas on that.
So sorry, what is the question? Ideas on
the common issues, the common malpractices for e-commerce marketing strategy among the startups. Often mistaken things.
यार बहुत ही layered सवाल है आपका. मैं कोशिश करता हूँ इसको. I try to break it down into as many consumer pieces as I can. First, so you would have read today that I think there's an Apex quote which is coming down on fake reviews on websites, right?
Right.
So I think so दो तीन चीजें हैं जो पिछले कुछ महीनों से हुई है, and important pieces. I will just quickly talk about them and then I'll move to your question. I think one is this fake reviews piece being addressed is very, very important and very welcome.
I'll just want to give you a humble remark. Yeah. Probably we'll have to end in 5 minutes.
Yeah. No, that's fine. So I think this fake reviews piece is an important piece, and I think very, very good move. Second is that from a bidding perspective, there has been a very strong indication by the court saying that you cannot bid on your competitors' keywords, and you cannot sort of infringe on that. And I think that's a very, very good move.
Right.
The third move, which has been happening for many months now, actually many years now, is the Made in India move, and I think it's a very welcome move for the startup ecosystem and the startup economy in India.
Correct.
And I love the capacity of manufacturing, technology, logistics, manpower, and skills and livelihoods that's being created. Having said that, I think if you're trying to set up your e-commerce store, there are 3 principles that I live with, and we can always double click on any of these, and your listeners can always reach out to me on LinkedIn or Twitter. But 3 principles. First principle is make sure that you have a very clear sense of the scalability of your product, right? Sometimes we end up thinking that, hey, we have one product idea and it's really, really cool, and I want to start up and I want to make it big with that. If it's one phenomenal product, please go for it. But if it's more, then it's ideal for you to have a sense of what kind of addressable market that you're able to capture. India बहुत बड़ा है. आपको अगर इस जंग के मैदान में उतरना है तो make sure that you have enough, right? I think one of the biggest things that I've seen with e-commerce players is come in with a lot of gung-ho, sort of fervor, and then supply chains get broken, and then you most likely don't know what to do with your product over a period of time. So make sure that your supply chain is sorted. I know this was more of a marketing piece, but honestly, you can't market if your supply is not sorted. So just make sure that your supply is sorted. That's number one, right? Second is when you're setting up your own store, please don't try to invest in customized technology. There are tools available that can help you get your shop up on e-commerce and online very, very quickly. There's, for example, there's Shopify, there's Shoptimize, there's lots of solutions out there. Please do a plug and play solution to begin with. Don't try to create your own website. Don't go to a developer who's going to say, मैं आपसे 2 लाख रुपए ले लूंगा, मैं उनका वेबसाइट बना के दूंगा, e-commerce के लिए रेडी है, कोई जरूरत नहीं है. हर चीज बनाया मिलता है, प्लीज उसको यूज करिए. बहुत अच्छे उम्दे सॉल्यूशंस है, आपको बिल्कुल मेहनत करने की जरूरत नहीं होनी चाहिए. टेक्नोलॉजी शुड वर्क फॉर यू, यू शुड नॉट वर्क फॉर टेक्नोलॉजी. मैं हमेशा ये बोलता हूं. ठीक है. तो सबसे पहले तो आप टेक्नोलॉजी वाले जो ये फाइट है ना, उसमें इन्वेस्ट मत करिएगा. आप इन्वेस्ट करिए अपने प्रोडक्ट लाइन पे, इन्वेस्ट करिए अपने ब्रांड पे, इन्वेस्ट करिए इमेजरी पे. तीसरी जो चीज और बहुत ही इंपॉर्टेंट चीज, एंड प्लीज ये मैं आपके हर एक व्यूअर से विनती करता हूँ, इट्स माय हम्बल रिक्वेस्ट, प्लीज ब्रांड्स को पहले दिन से डिस्काउंटेड ब्रांड्स मत बनाओ. ठीक है, मार्केट ऑलरेडी बिगड़ चुका है. ठीक है, the more discounts you end up giving, the more you end up spoiling your own business. You will not realize it today. You want to get people hooked onto a discount, and then a year down the line, you'll suddenly realize that all of them have left you because someone else gave them a discount or XYZ. What you did not do is you did not build a brand that people fell in love with. You did not build a product line that people fell in love with. I think invest all your time, energy, effort, money, and everything else that you can into building a brand and building products that people genuinely crave for, desire, and speak very highly for. Please, ये discount का game बंद कर दो. मैं हर forum में यही कहता हूँ. If today, as collectively, as founders and as marketers, we pull back from discounting, believe me, the market will react to it. और ये जितने business में अभी EBITDA loss चल रहा है, जितने businesses में अभी bleeding situation में है, सब all of that will get fixed.